Today on the channel, we walk that thin blue line with another G.I. Joe classified figure, this time with the Police Emergency Service Unit figure.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another G.I. Joe Classified series unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got the Police Emergency Service Unit G.I. Joe Classified series figure. But of course, for all your G.I. Joe Classified series needs and a whole lot more, hit up DJC Collectibles. Use discount code 8OFFDJC to save 8% off your entire order. Got to get a deal out there. You guys know how that goes by now, and you know how this review is going to go by now. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And this is the G.I. Joe police officer. Now, this was announced, or was supposed to be officially announced and officially up for pre-order. Part of Yo Joe June. Of course, Todd McFarlane for the couch. You guys know all about Yo Joe June over there. And you guys being Mark Summers here today as well. Good to see Double Dare's own Mark Summers. Great to see him. But you guys all know about Yo Joe June, and of course, my birthday month, June, as well. That's what we celebrate over here. But it did not go up. There was some, I think, rioting in LA, I want to say it was. So the police officer got nixed by Hasbro. I don't know. To me, I don't want to say that stuff doesn't matter. I don't want to get too political here on this channel, but an action figure is an action figure. Let's put it out there. Come on. There's probably a lot of police officers that buy Hasbro products. Who knows? But it's the thin blue line, as we know as well. But very cool to finally get this one here. I think this is a figure that needed to happen because, hey, guess what? This is a great figure for your G.I. Joe Classified for sure, but you can use this with Marvel Legends. You can use this with other toy lines. It's definitely a utility figure that I think a lot of people can use. And this one is an army builder, if there ever was one. A lot of different stuff in here for people to use. So a little controversial. I don't know. To me, it's not, but to some it is. And that's kind of the world we live in, I think. But we're going to dive into it right here. And there it is, a police officer. And I got more of these on the way as well. I'm going to buy a couple of these for different uses. Different uses. Stay tuned to the collection tour in 2028, I think is when the next one will be. G.I. Joe Classified series right there. Part of the Joe Legacy collection over here. And we've seen some of those before. Of course, kind of random figures, I guess we'd call them. But looking good in the big bubble window here. Little glamour shot on the side. QR code that no one will be using on this side here. And then on the back, got the police officer doing police officer things, I guess. Down bottom, jibber jabber. Anything else on the back here? Police. It's just a police officer eating I thought he was eating a donut. How stereotypical. I know, Todd McFarlane. That's where my mind went. But I think he's talking on his walkie-talkie is what he's doing. But he does got a cup of Joe. How fitting right there. A cup of Joe for a Joe. Makes sense. Writes itself. We know how that goes. Bam! See you later, Spider-Man style right there. Oh, we got a little police jacket here, and we got a little plastic prism. But I'm going to take this all out of the package, take it offline, and we'll be back talking all things the G.I. Joe Classified police officer. All right, time to dive into the police officer here. Let's start it off with all these accessories, and quite the loadout with this one. A lot going on. So you do get the police jacket. I guess we'll call it a jacket here. Kind of an over-the-top here police uniform. Part of the Riot Squad, maybe. Of course, not the wrestling Riot Squad or the band Riot. Shout out to Guy Sperenza and Mark Reale. Oh, anybody know Riot? Oh, if you know Riot, you're a real one out there. Check them out. One of the greatest metal bands that nobody's ever heard of. How about that? Check out Fire Down Below, or Fire Down and Under, more like it. But looking good here. Does say police right on the front. Nice to see that. And then we got the Riot Shield right here. Playing along there. And this is a Riot Shield that's been used a time or two, apparently, as it's got splatter all over. It looks like somebody hit it with a spray paint can. Who knows? But it does say police once again. Looking good for the Riot Shield. And as I said, this is an army builder. There's definitely different versions you can pull out of this one. And I will. But no extra hands with this one, which is interesting here. We do got a lot of other accessories. We do got a cup of Joe. How ironic right here. We saw this, I believe, was it the Vamp we saw this with the first time? I think it was. I believe that's the first time we saw this. I don't know if it's a Joe. I can't remember. But it is a cup of Joe on here. Got a little heart on there. Very nice of that barista to put on there as well. Diving into some of the weapons here. We got, I guess, with this, their yellow and black attack, which of course means only one thing. These must be weapons he takes to the Striper concert, because we all know, Tom Front, you've been in the pit at a Striper show a time or two. It gets rowdy in those Striper concerts, of course. When they start handing out the Bibles at the end, when they hand the Bibles to everybody, that's a crazy scene. You got to watch out. Now, I guess this police officer probably needed that with this riot shield and all that kind of stuff. But it looks like this is probably a taser gun and maybe a flare gun is what we got here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but definitely have to use those in the Striper concert. I think when they call for security, they say, you better take the black and yellow weapons. Only makes sense. But you do got a traditional pistol. When these don't work, you got to shoot Striper fans. That's what you got to do. But you got the pistol right here, all in black. Looking pretty good. Got to have a little bit of weapons with these police officers. And then you got a big time weapon here, a big old like machine gun, whatever you want to call it, full of bullets, and the drum does attach, as you can imagine. We've seen this weapon before, but I guess this is when things really get out of hand at the Striper concert. Just absolutely wild here. But you got this, I guess maybe for the riot officer, whatever it could be. As we usually say, choose your own, of course, G.I. Joe adventure and police officer adventure. Now we got the old Billy Club right here. Oh, watch out, serving hard times like the big boss man once upon a time. You got to have these, of course. And it reminds me of my last time with a run-in with a police officer. Now, I've never been arrested. I've been close, but I've never been arrested. And my uncle was a police officer, he's a sheriff and stuff. So, Uncle, I need some help. Help me out of this. Well, I never had to do that, but I'll never forget. Take you all the way back to like 2005 or something like that. I just started dating my wife. Oh, salt of the earth, of course. The buxom Angie, as she's known in some circles. Her and I and my friend Danny. Shout out to Danny, a real one as well. He was in the back seat and he was passed out. Now, I think I got off work late. I can't remember the reason why, but I hadn't partaken in any drink. There was no drinking from me. I think my wife might have had one. My buddy was pretty hammered. And it was like 2 o'clock and we were coming back. We had like a half-hour drive home. I was driving. I was doing that whole thing. And it was late at night. It was like 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And there was no issues there because I hadn't had a sip of alcohol. Not a sip of alcohol, not even a sip of Monster. It wasn't a thing back then. And I'm sitting there driving and the police officer pulls me over. I'm like, what the heck am I being pulled over for? And he comes up to me, he goes, whoa, buddy, you just blew past that stop sign, which I did not, which was funny enough because we were doing the old 1, 2, 3, 4 thing at the stop sign, kind of joking around because that was on Reno 911 at the time. Story time with Kyle, I forgot to mention that. But the police officer comes up and he rolled it down and he goes, whoa, you just blew past that stop sign. How much have you had to drink? You reek of alcohol. That kind of whole story there. And I was like, none. And I said, I didn't. But this guy was like my age too, which is always weird when you got like the cop the same age as you when you're young, like he's trying to prove something or something like that. And I looked like the salt of the earth at the time. I still do, of course, but especially back then, I looked like just a sweetheart. And he's like, we're going to have to do the breath, or we're going to have to check you for, the breathalyzer, all that kind of stuff. Because he thought I was wasted. He thought I was doing a little drunk driving. And I wasn't. I was not at all. Pulled me out of the car. So I had to do the little nose thing and all this. And he was all just angry the whole time. And then he made me do something where I had to put my hands on the car. I forget what that was. And then I'm just thinking to myself, why am I doing all this? Am I uncoordinated? Am I having an issue with coordination or something? Did I not know this about myself? And then he said, come with me. I'm going to put you in the back of the squad car. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So then he throws me in the back of the squad car. And I'm sure Angie was just probably crying, or she was probably celebrating, one or the other. I'm not sure what she was doing in the front seat. My buddy passed out in the back seat. But I'm sitting in the back of the cop car. And I've never been in the back of the cop car. I'm like, what is going on here? What is this world? What is going on? And he comes up and opens the door again. And he's got the breathalyzer out. And he's like, I'm going to have you blow into this. And I said, it's going to be a 0.00. I haven't had anything. I guarantee it. And I blow into the breathalyzer and I put spit and I spit through it in it and it gets all over him because it went through the little hose thing or whatever. And he's just looking at it and it's waiting to come up. And he just looks at it. He's got this most disgusted face I've ever seen, just looking at it. And I go, 0.00, huh? And he just looked at me. He goes, well, I'm writing you a stop sign violation. And that was it. And then he let me out of the cop car and I went on my merry way. But I was pretty worked up about this stop sign violation. And I don't know. I could go on from there. There's more to the story, but that's where we're going to stop it. So that was my only run-in really with the police outside of fights when I was younger and stuff. And you couldn't be arrested and things. And I stayed away from all the drug stuff because I was a kid of the Dare generation. And isn't this a G.I. Joe classified unboxing? Isn't that what we're here for? Let's get back to that. Enough of that jibber jabber. But diving into here, we do got some cuffs. We've seen these cuffs a time or two. We know how that goes. Seen these before, all in gray, looking very nice. And then where do we go? Hats, I guess. It's hat time, hat party. We get the traditional hat here for the police officer, looking good. The blue and black attack, looking very nice. And then you got the riot helmet here with the police logo at the top, and of course the visor that comes up, looking very nice. Chin strap on there, looking good. So once again, you got two different kind of officers right here you can dive into with this G.I. Joe one. So that does look very nice as well. Diving into the head sculpts here, of course, you get the black guy, you get the white guy. Choose your own adventure, or why not both, as I do say. Both of these guys, I always wondered, did Hasbro base these off of somebody, or is it just totally generic, or is it, Bob in the copyright room or something like that? I don't know. You never know what they could be. But two good head sculpts, very, I don't know if plain Jane's the right word, but middle of the road, nothing crazy. They don't look like absolute maniacs like Duke that you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's either a child molester or a serial killer. And we know Duke is one of those, of course. And Duke spent a lot of time with these guys over the years, I'd imagine. But I don't have any issue. I like both these head sculpts. Very good. Both of them. No issues with these. So cool to see that. Now we do get the visor. Visor? How about sunglasses? Sunglasses on this one. You got the yellow lenses, black frames. Looking very nice. They work on either figure here. Looking good. I like those. Now diving into the figure itself. Now the cool thing is with the swapping heads you can do with the classified line, you can pop these heads off and you can use any other Joe head to put on here if you want to. You have an extra head or something. You want to put Dr. Mindbender on here? You can do that if you want to as well. So there's a lot of options with this guy. Now he just got the big old vest over the top. He's got his little pocket right here to store his weapon in. Got the holster ready to go. Now he does got his CB radio, his walkie-talkie, whatever you want to call it. You got that. That does pop out and in, so you can have him holding it or you can have it punched into his vest there. He does got a high collar, of course, welcomed right into Club Grayskull right away with the officer of the law, of course. And then looking good with the badge there. I mean, you can't really read the details on the badge. There's really no details. Does got a big belt going on. He does got a flashlight, which I don't believe is removable. No, it is not. Same thing with the handcuffs, not removable. You do got a second spot to store those other handcuffs if you want to. You got the spot for your billy club right on the side. You slip that in there if you need be. So you can store some of this stuff here, and you continue to store down here. You got another spot for one of the flare guns or the taser if you need to on the side. And that looks like it's it. So it doesn't look like you can store everything on him. You won't be able to do everything. So that's unfortunate. I like to put everything on these Joes. Is what it is, of course. Now, he just got the blue suit throughout on here all the way down to the pants, looking very nice. Got a little bit of writing there on state-issued police. He just got some of those on the forearms. Does got a watch. He's ready to go. He's ready to time some things. You never know what he might be up to. Looking good here. He does got black boots, black knee pads, and that's about it. That is your Joe officer here. Now, no skin is showing besides the head and, of course, the neck. So you got to pop those out, but nothing else you have to swap out. And once again, no extra hands with this one, just two gripping hands ready to go. Arms all the way around, bicep cut, a little butterfly action in there. Double jointed, pinless elbows, playing all the hits. Hands back and forth, side to side. Head back and forth, side to side, up and down. Ab crunch is probably in there, but a little bit locked in with that vest, but you get the dumbbell joint there moving all around. Drop down hips and big old splits for that police officer. Got to have that if you're dodging crazies at the Striper concert. You know how that goes. Duke's probably right there in the front in the mosh pit. Big boot if you need to. Thigh cut. Double jointed pinless knees. Boot cut. Ankles back forth side to side. Up and down playing all those G.I. Joe hits in the classified line. I am here for him, and I like this figure. Once again, controversial. I don't know. I don't think it really should be controversial. I think people are getting too worked up about a few things, if you ask me, but it is what it is. Get worked up about what you want to get worked up, I guess. But to me, this is a great figure to put with your Joes, of course, but mix them in with some Marvel Legends, maybe a street scene with the Turtles, something along them lines. It's great to have a police officer to do some of that kind of stuff. Whatever you want to do. I know some people said they're going to have them as the villains in their action figure setup. Do whatever you want to do. Choose your own adventure. You paid your money. Do what you want to do with your figures. But looking very good right here. Once again, I think I am picking up 3 of these for my collection. I'm going to go full Riot Squad gear, and then I'm going to have just the white and the black guy, just a buddy cop. Make my own buddy cop movie out of those two guys. I guess that's what I'm going to do. But that's my plan. But what's your plan? What's your plans for these Joes? You doing anything fun? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. And of course, don't forget Patreon and YouTube channel memberships if you even want more content. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. And of course, don't forget the podcast that's sweeping the nation. What nation? I'm not sure, Todd, but one of them, I'm sure. It is the Kyle Peterson Show, available wherever podcasts are found, with videocast on YouTube each and every single Tuesday. So for the G.I. Joe police officer, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?